And welcome inside the Wells Fargo Center for Philadelphia Flyers. It's Saturday, right?
Yes, it is.
All right, Saturday Night Hockey.
Yep.
It's Brian Smith, Jason Martinez.
I haven't known what day of the week it is since November.
Yeah,
Don't worry about it.
It's dizzying at this point. But it is Saturday. It is Saturday Night Hockey in Philadelphia, and we're sitting high atop the Wells Fargo Center, Brian and I here, because special night, not because it's April Fool's Day, but because this is the night they will have Steve Coates' last call. Now, let's be honest here. It may be not his last game because he's going to go through April 13th, the end of the season. So 7 more to go? And he'll have plenty of last calls in retirement.
Yeah.
But we are celebrating Coates tonight here at Wells Fargo Center, and by doing so, there are everybody out for warm-ups, and they're all wearing number 43. Now, what's the significance of 43?
Martin Biron.
That's what I thought of at first, which is ironic because he works for MSG and does Buffalo games. But no, it is because Coates has been in this business for 43 years. So they wear the number 43. And on the back of everybody's jersey, it doesn't say Coates. It says Coates-C. Full hockey nickname.
I long ago realized that to just call him Coates in any sort of reference, like even when I'm writing it down, doesn't feel right. Like he has a bio. All of us, a lot of the broadcasters, whatever, we have bios, and his regular bios it says Coates this, Coates that, and then we were rewriting the bio to be specific for tonight, and I couldn't help but change them all to Coatesy just because it doesn't feel right otherwise. I told you earlier I did a Flyers Cup game with him years ago, and I called him Steve maybe twice, and before that ended because that just didn't feel right either.
Yeah. It's funny because the way they spell Coatesy on these jerseys is not the way I spell it.
Oh, you spell it I-E?
No, I spell it Coatsey. They went ESY.
Okay, yeah.
So
you could go either way.
Yeah, it's just the way I've always spelled it. Like, in text. That's how he is a contact in my phone.
It's like Dwayne Wade versus Dwayne The Rock Johnson, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I guess you could go either way with that. That is a good point.
Yeah. So it's Flyers Sabres tonight. We're going to carry the Coatesy ceremonies. Now tell us what people can expect with these ceremonies tonight, Brian. You're the logistic coordinator on the broadcast. You're the only one that's got the expertise to handle logistics. So what's on the docket here pregame?
Well, we've got the jerseys going on right now, obviously, and the normal warm-up is taking place. And then once we get to the spot where normally we would start introductions and things like that, we're going to have an actual ceremony. It's going to push puck drop back about 8 minutes or so, I think, is the length of the ceremony.
That's the plan.
Yep, that's the plan, yes. And that involves Coates's family coming out onto the ice. There's going to be a video. Timmy Saunders is headed downstairs to MC this, and so they'll be reading through a bunch of stuff. And then we have allotted Coatesy 4 minutes to sum up 43 years of broadcasting. And that's the wild card. That's where we're not sure if we'll get there or not. But that's the plan. And then we'll carry that whole ceremony for you. You'll be able to hear it, and I'm sure later you'll be able to see it in replay on our social media channels. And then we'll be getting into the game. Jason and I will bring you the first X number of minutes of action here until Timmy and Coatesy can get back up here. I hope Coatesy does get back up here. We think he will, but we don't know how long that's going to take.
I got 8-1 odds. Tim beats Coatesy up.
Oh, there's no question he's going to beat. Yeah, he might make him a little bigger than that. But I just whether it's before the 10-minute mark of the first period or not, we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's 50-1 that Coatesy will beat Timmy up here, and I'm not taking the underdog in this situation.
Nope.
It's almost bizarre watching warm-ups with everybody in a 43 jersey. You're trying to figure out who's who. It's easy to figure out who some of the guys are. Like Nick Delarier is easy to spot. Right. Kevin Hayes is easy to spot. The helmetless guys are a little easier to spot. But I do spot a guy down there that I wasn't sure that we were going to see him this year.
Yeah.
We've got a recall in Sam Emerson because Carter's still not good with that lower body injury. But we do have Travis Konechny returning to the lineup. TK on the PK is back.
We do. And, unfortunately, it didn't occur to me at the time to ask TK about, all the effort and all the rehab and what it means to him to have finally gotten to the point where he can come back in time for Coates's night.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's going to be like the biggest game of his career, just because of that. So, but yeah, it's going to be great to see him there. Going to be great to have him back in there. And, again, for him to get a week or so in here and end the season on a high note will be good for him.
Yeah, good to see TK back in the lineup. But unfortunately, with the news of TK's return, we did get the news that Sean Couturier will not return this season. And I know that a lot of people, and I saw it on social media, a lot of people saying, good, that's the right thing to do. And I understand that thinking. I do, because the way the injury bug has come up, cropped up, came back, stayed a while, stayed longer than we thought with certain players. I understand that hesitancy. I would love to have seen him this year, to just so that he goes into the offseason. We go into the offseason knowing that his body can handle some NHL action. He goes into the offseason having that confidence as well. But that's not going to happen. As George said, Cooch was absolutely devastated.
Yeah, I mean, again,
which I understand.
It certainly, certainly wasn't going to be happy about it. You knew that. The position that Torts put forth, and what the organization is thinking in their heads here is that it's not like we're talking about some of the situations that you and I have discussed in past years where it's like, yeah, let's get Ronnie Adder to game. Oh, that's right, I'm on camera. Let's get Ronnie Adder to game. Let's get so and so a taste of NHL action so they know how to expect it over the course of the summer, because then you get to spend all summer knowing what it was like to play in the NHL. Sean Couturier has been in this league for 11 years now, something like that.
Yeah.
So, he's got plenty of time under his belt. And so they don't think that it's worth the risk of him doing something to himself that would prevent him from then getting that full off season of work in to be ready for next year. So, it's like I said, it's not something that he's certainly going to be happy about. But, in the grand scheme of things, that's where they think is the best way to go.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the way you look at it is the benefit didn't outweigh,
is the juice worth the squeeze?
Yeah, the benefit didn't, outweigh the other end of it, where you go, okay, if he waits all summer and comes back next year,
right,
then, I mean, he could probably play this year. But, again, the benefit of that doesn't outweigh how much better he may be for coming back next year.
And it's one of those situations, too, right, where if it was a playoff situation, if if they were
far different,
if there was stuff on the line, then he probably would be back here, and there probably would be a Sean Couturier sighting as soon as he'd probably be playing already by now.
Yeah,
if it was, but given the circumstances, again, it's not something that they want to push their luck on, and that's certainly understandable.
Yeah, I talked to him a week and a half ago, and he was pushing really hard.
Gotcha.
And one of the things he mentioned that wasn't in the interview when we were done was just that mentality of going, I haven't played hockey since December of 2021. So where Kevin Hayes had those doubts last year and was able to come back and finish the year strong, Cooch is going to go into the offseason not having that benefit of having that. So, I asked Cooch too, when we were done the interview, can this lengthen your career in some way?
Yeah, I mean, again,
there's no wear and tear.
No, and you're talking about a guy that came into the league right out of as soon as he was eligible. He was drafted, and he played his 18-year-old year. That makes him 29 now?
Yep.
And he is already creeping very close to 1,000 games in this league. He's if he stayed with the Flyers the whole run, and he plays a normal amount of games, even after having lost this year. If he plays out this contract with the Flyers, I mean, he'll torpedo Bob Clark's games played record by several hundred.
Yeah.
Like, he's not just going to creep toward it. He'll blow it out of the water. So he's got a lot of hockey left in him, hopefully. And like you said, the hope is that, the way they're approaching this is going to put him in a situation where he can, hit the ground running moving forward and start what probably is hopefully the second full half of his career.
Yeah, it's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah.
So in goal tonight is going to be Felix Sandstrom once again. Played a really strong game the other night. We don't like the way it ended with that giveaway. I've watched that like 5 times now.
And again, the thing for me is that, to me, it feels like such a fluke because that's the one part of the game where I feel like he's stronger than Carter. Every time
Yeah.
Carter goes out of the net after a puck, I'm nervous.
Yeah.
It's like the bomb's going to go off. And Sandy, it seems to handle it just much better out there when he's out in no man's land. But again, I look at it as a heads-up play by Ottawa there to cut off both avenues of escape.
I got to tell you, something. I watched it and tried to put my mind inside Felix Sandstrom's mask for that. I must have watched it a dozen times. And what I think happened, first of all, I think it was a huge mistake by Ottawa that led to that goal.
Yeah.
They have two guys deep below the goal line on a 3-on-3 without possession. Like, you can so easily see that going the other way if he just rims it up the same side and gets it by Giroux.
Yep.
I think what was going on was there was an assumption that side of the ice was empty. It wasn't a rush, so for the goalie, he's not, starting to weigh all the different threats because it's a dump in. And in a 3-on-3, you don't see two guys. You don't have a 1-2 forecheck on the 3-on-3. It's not how you do things.
Right.
So he's figured, I'm just going to wheel it around behind the net. One of my guys going to come in and scoop it up, and we got possession.
Can't really have a 1-2 forecheck on the 3-on-3.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was a huge mistake what DeBrincat did.
Yeah.
It just worked out really
away
well
with
for him.
Yep.
Yeah. Because Giroux's down below the goal line checking the play as he tipped it into the zone, and DeBrincat's down below the goal line on his backhand of Sandstrom, and he just delivers it to him. So, a really weird play. I'm going to have to ask Tim Dillaball about that one. But that was my impression of it, and it's a shame because Flyers get outshot in the game 46-11, and he keeps them in it. They full marks, too. They battle back in the third period from down 3 goals to tie it. But that's how it ended, and he'll get the start tonight. Sam Ersson, once again, is the backup. So, here, let's take our first time out here on the pregame show. It's Coates's last call tonight as the Flyers take on the Sabres here at Wells Fargo Center. We'll take a timeout. We're back with more after this. Flyers Game Day brought to you by Betway on the Flyers Broadcast Network. I'm tired of holding this camera.
Where is his Coatesness? I thought he'd be out for this.
Coatesy?
Yeah.
He was at the end of the bench.
Okay.
With some of
he was
his
there for a while. All right.
Yeah, they might have brought him to the back.
I just tweeted that picture at Marty.
Of what?
I tweeted that picture to Marty.
Oh, did you?
Lots of leftover beer on jerseys in the Flyers store from 15 years ago.
He's the best. He comes on Stick to Hockey Live quite often, and he's just awesome.
I remember he used to store his RV in the parking lot at Voorhees because his daughter was into like horses or something, like showing horses or dressage or whatever. And so they were always driving around with her and her horse, and they had an RV for it.
Oh, it's great. I want to go to RV life.
Yeah, I do too. We rented one, went on vacation last summer for a week or so, and it's actually pretty nice. It's just a matter of having a place to park it.
Yeah. All right. And we're back live at the Wells Fargo Center. Brian Smith, Jason Martinez. We get set for Flyers Sabres. Hey, to celebrate the game tonight, Buffalo got in the spirit ride. You know how so?
They're starting goaltender?
Yeah.
Participating for us?
Their goaltender. Here's his name. And I think I might be able to spell it too. But I'm probably not going to try here on the pregame show. It'll take too long. Is Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. That is one heck of a name.
That's one of my son's favorite players, I do believe. Just from the standpoint of how to say it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not quite as enjoyable as that time period where the Rangers had both Igor Shesterkin and Alexander Georgiev.
Oof, yeah.
Because they were going to roll out one or the other on a given night. But it's a perfect Coatesy goalie for a Coatesy night.
Yeah, it really is.
Yep.
And, last night, they could have done Coatesy a solid and started Devin Levi tonight for his first NHL game. But he played last night in their back-to-back. So, no Devin Levi, although he did have a good performance last night. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, his numbers on the year, 32 games played. He's played the most amount of any goaltender for the Buffalo Sabres. A record of 16, 11, and 4. Not great numbers, though. A .363 goals against average and an .890 save percentage. When you look at their save percentage, their team .895, you go, how are they even above 500? Well, they score a ton of goals, this team. That's what they do.
Yeah.
When the Flyers, when Sam Ersson shut them out, they were the highest scoring team in the NHL at the time.
There's a lot of things about their numbers that are backwards. Like they're 15, 20, and 4 at home and 21, 11, and 3 on the road.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
That's not normal.
Yeah.
You could attribute that to playing in Buffalo, but they're supposed to like it. So I don't know. That's a strange number. But yeah, I mean when you're when you're ahead of where the Flyers are anyway. I mean they're 5 games over hockey 500. And your goaltenders have those kind of numbers, you know that you're scoring some goals.
Yeah.
And we saw when they were here on St. Patrick's Day, we saw Craig Anderson at the stellar age of 41, still going strong.
Yeah.
He had a better game, I think, than that result showed. But
agreed.
It's obvious that Buffalo, if they want to keep their whole thing moving forward, one of these two kids is going to have to come along and do pretty well.
Yeah, the league is weird right now. Elliot Friedman talk about this on 32 Thoughts. The league is interesting right now from the goalie perspective because there's at one time there was about 18 legit number ones, 18 or 20, right, around the league. Now there's probably 8 to 10.
Yeah.
Bona fide number ones, right?
Yeah. It's something we saw going. I mean, we saw it going all the way back to the time of Steve Mason and Michael Neuvert here,
Mm-hmm.
where they were splitting things, and to the contrary, you go back to the Flyers' famous team of the 79-80 season when they had that huge streak, and should have won the Stanley Cup. That's one of my shoulda years. Pete Peters and help me on the other guy.
Was it Wayne Stevenson?
I don't think it was. I'll have to look it up. But the two goalies split it right down the middle. I want to say 40 to 40. That was rare back then. Usually you did have a guy that was playing a ton of time. It has gotten a little bit more demanding here, especially as the Mark something or other was the other goalie.
Mark.
I think.
Phil Meyer.
Phil Meyer, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I knew there was an M involved.
Him and Rick St. Croix.
Yep, and Phil Meyer 41 games played, Pete Peters 40, and Rick St. Croix got the odd one out.
Yeah,
I didn't know they were playing 82 games back then.
Yeah, they went to 80 shortly after that.
I mean it's interesting in this day and age how it with all the metrics that we have. I mean, obviously the goaltenders in this era, I don't want to take anything away from the goaltenders of past eras, but they are much better athletes overall, I think, than the goalies of the 70s. Mm-hmm. I guess that goes across the board for hockey players and maybe for athletes in general. The way that they can measure load and stuff like that now, it looks like more and more all the Stanley Cup teams have, two solid goaltenders that they can lean on any given moment. So, it's kind of interesting the way that's gone.
So it will be Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen tonight versus his fellow countryman Felix Sandstrom. Let's take one more time out. We're going to take you right up to the countdown to face-off. We'll have the Steve Coates last call ceremonies for you as well, all in advance of the Flyers and the Sabres. 3 home games left this season, if you can believe it, including this one tonight. And then after they get back from this 4-game trip, it'll be Bruins and Columbus. And then they'll head out on the road for the final game of the season, April 13th, against the Chicago Blackhawks. That'll be the last call, the last game call for Coates on the 13th.
Be, yes.
So let's take a timeout. We'll come back with more here at Wells Fargo Center. It's Flyers Game Day, brought to you by Betway on the Flyers Broadcast Network. Yeah, my wife just sent me a picture
Wow.
of hail.
There wasn't a cloud in the damn sky when I walked in here at 3:30. Is he all right?
Yeah, there was a tornado watch.
Well, this is the same line of storms that like tore up the Midwest over the last couple of days. It's kind of crazy how this is dug through.
They should have gave out like beer steins tonight. Bob.
As part of this, they are renaming a bar Coates's Corner.
Permanently?
Yeah.
Are they really?
Yeah, downstairs somewhere.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Think of the season ticket member lounge.
Whoever made the logo did a great job, by the way.
Yes.
It looks great.
I have no idea who did that, but it is tremendous.
Fantastic.
It reminds me of the last. I remember when Cheers went off the air, they had a logo.
Yeah.
And it harkens to that for me.
It looks three-dimensional. We're back live at the Wells Fargo Center. Flyers Sabres tonight. It is Coates's last call. We'll celebrate Steve Coates in his 43 years broadcasting with the Philadelphia Flyers. And, Brian, I don't know who made the logo for this, but I'm going to give stick taps out to whoever designed and came up with this logo because it is a fantastic logo. It looks like as it's being projected on the ice, it looks three-dimensional.
Yeah,
like a bubble.
Especially that version of it that you're seeing there. Yeah, I mean, we've got it all over the place.
Awesome.
We've got it on pins. We've got it on, we've got it on some signage that we're looking at. Hopefully, it ends up on a golf ball or two for the guy.
Perfect on a golf ball.
I mean, that would be absolutely outstanding. We have gifts that'll be announced here in a little bit. You might be shocked to hear that they're golf related.
Yeah,
just stunned, I'm sure. That's that would be good use for it. But yeah, somebody I wish I could give credit by name, but it is a fantastic setup for this evening.
Yeah, man, really a nice job. And the funny thing is that you go, well, retirement, you get to play all the golf you want. Coates's already playing all the golf he wants now.
He does.
Let's be honest here.
Yep.
He's not going to play any more golf because you can't play more golf than he plays.
You cannot. No. We actually. Occasionally, we'll do like you folks out there have seen the Broadcasters Roundtable. We do that a few times a year. Try to do it monthly. We sometimes achieve that, sometimes we don't. But oftentimes, when we schedule the taping of that, we make sure we do it early enough that he can still get around in on a given day.
Yeah, like you sent out the group text the other day and said, "Can we do a Broadcasters Roundtable on Monday at 11?" He said, "How about 10:30?" Because he had a tea time at noon.
Yep. And for those of you who may not know, Coatesy lives in Egg Harbor Township, so it's not a hop, skip, and a jump here to Philadelphia.
It's a haul.
It's a bit of a haul, and again, at his advanced age, we don't want him driving too much back and forth. There's a lot of times when Flyers will come next weekend. Flyers will get back from the island on Saturday, and then they'll have a game here on Sunday. Usually, Coatesy will get a hotel here in the area.
Yeah, because it doesn't make sense to drive to the shore and back.
Now it is Easter, so I don't know if he'll do that next weekend. But that's.
He'll give Lynn one last weekend by herself.
That's how far away. That's how far away he lives from here. So we make sure that he can get the golf in because that's what makes him happy.
Yeah,
we want him to be happy.
Yep, and we're gonna miss him dearly. He's. Ever since we've been around this team, you and I both, and he's been here. He's been a staple around here, and see him downstairs, kind of, with the players walking by and stuff. He's the toast of the town. He's always the toast of the town, but he's really a high-end toast of the town at this time.
I remember when he moved from television back to radio, and I hope he doesn't mind me relaying part of the conversation, but. It wasn't necessarily his idea, and he wasn't very thrilled about it at first. It's certainly easy to see why. You might see it as a demotion, you might see it as whatever. But I remember talking to him about it, and I said, "Look, You get to do your salary's not going to change, so there's no financial hit. You get to do all the games now because when you're on television, you don't get to do all the games.
You miss about 20.
Yeah, you
and
miss
playoffs.
You miss a dozen at least a year, and then you miss if you get there, the last 2 rounds of the playoffs, and probably some games before that. So you get to do all the games. And again, this isn't a knock on TV or anything, but when you're doing radio, you have so many fewer people telling you what to do. Because we are, it's a much less labor-intensive operation than a television broadcast is, and you have fewer people looking over your shoulder.
Fewer cooks in the kitchen.
Exactly. So I said, look, this might end up being a great thing for him, and it really was, I think, for him. And it let him go out on his own terms, and as opposed to maybe not. I don't know where that would have taken him, but it's a great thing, I think. That he was able to come over here with us and finish out his run here.
Yeah, where he started.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean that's the thing too. Is and the other part of it, radio is a lot more liberating from a content standpoint than television is too. It's a little looser. You can have a little more fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Not that the TV guy like Jonesy has fun. I mean, geez,
But again, think of all the stuff you've got to squeeze in on television. I mean, you've got your intermissions are back at the studio and whatever. You got to squeeze all that in, and you've got a lot of different stories you got to tell on television that require you to basically stop talking. And on radio, he can talk all he wants.
Yep.
Which again, sometimes we have to reel them back in a little bit, but that's part of the fun of it. That's part of why we love Coatsy so much, is because you can count on being entertained anytime he's on the air.
Yeah. I'd love to give the line combinations right now.
What?
But 43 is playing with 43 and 43.
Oh.
Based on pregame warm-up.
One moment.
I'm sure Olivia's got it.
One moment. I can hand it to you.
All
thing.
Can you hand me Tim's card there? Thank you. Okay, there we go. Okay, I got it. We're just reaching over from the other booth. All right, so Morgan Frost with Joel Farabee and Owen Tippett. No shock there. That line together once again. Noah Cates playing with Scott Lawton and Travis Konechny. So you wonder where's TK going to slot in? Well, he's going to slot right on the right side with Noah Cates and Scott Lawton. Kevin Hayes, James Van Riemsdyk, and Wade Allison. And then the extra 2 forwards are Brendan Lemieux and Nick Delaurier. 11-7 tonight?
Yep. And then again, we haven't talked about this yet. The John Tortorella is not going to be on the bench again tonight.
Yep.
He talked about this in his media availability today. You can go watch it if you want on YouTube at some point and get the huge lowdown. But he actually is doing this because he wants his coaches to have a chance to run a bench.
Yeah.
All the assistants are going to get an opportunity to do this at some point this year. And specifically, Brad Shaw wants to run a bench of 11-7.
Yeah.
He has not done that a lot. So,
see, people will read that and go, well, why does he want to do that? Is he thinking about stepping down? No, that's not the reason. He hates watching it from up here.
Yes, we found that out.
Yeah, the game looks too easy from up here. One quick correction, auto-correct myself. I'm going to fact-check myself. Okay. I said Felix Sandstrom versus Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen tonight. They're countrymen. They're not.
Oh.
Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen's a Finn.
That's right next door, right?
A Swede.
Is that right next door?
Yeah, just knock over, right?
Okay, yeah.
You Finns there? So just wanted to get that right before I get 1,000.
Timo Timonen is going to yell at you.
Yes.
He's not going to like that.
But the D pairings got Cam York, Ivan Provorov, Sanheim, and Ristolainen, who's also a Finn. Sealer and D'Angelo, both Americans. Justin Braun, an American as well. And that's your 7D. And like I said, it'll be Sandstrom who gets to start tonight against Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen of the Buffalo Sabres. All right, so we're going to give you all the ceremonies and all the pomp and circumstance here for Coatsy's last call. They'll go back to their regular jerseys. Travis Konechny will wear number 11. Ivan Provorov will wear number 9.
Please.
43 will be shelved forever.
I do have to do about 2 minutes of play-by-play, so please.
Yes. Yeah. If they all come out in the 43 jersey, you're going to throw yourself off.
I'm going to be doing the whole game is what's going to happen.
Yeah, Tim's not coming back. It's a good point. So it is going to be the Flyers and the Sabres Saturday night hockey. Flyers going to head out on a road trip as Gritty enters the ice. Let me tell you that you've been listening to Flyers Game Day, which is brought to you by Betway on the Flyers Broadcast Network. You can hit the bump now. There we go. Sorry.
For 43 years, Steve Coates has graced the airwaves here in Philadelphia, covering Philadelphia Flyers hockey in one way or another. Tonight, we honor that career and set up a night just for Coatesy here at Wells Fargo Center as the Flyers get set to take on the Buffalo Sabres coming up next. They'll be joining us in just a little bit, but here tonight at Wells Fargo Center, the night is all about Steve Coates, and Tim Saunders is downstairs getting ready to help out with our pregame ceremony. Coatesy's last call here tonight, not literally. He's going to be with us another couple of weeks. He'll finish out the season, of course, but we're going to do the big honors tonight here as Steve Coates celebrates a 43-year career on the Philadelphia Flyers broadcast crew. Alongside Jason Martinez, I'm Brian Smith. Betsy Deming, our engineer here at Wells Fargo Center, and Matt Menard pushing the buttons back at the station tonight for this very special evening. It's we've been immersed in it from the moment we walked into the booth here, Jason. It has been all Coatesy all the time, and he deserves it. And it's been fantastic to be a part of it. Really looking forward here to this ceremony.
Yeah, it's almost one of those things that is hard to celebrate in just one night because you're talking about 43 years of a contribution. 43 years, the way I like to put it, is of service to the Philadelphia Flyers, because he has been an ambassador for this organization. He has served many roles on the air and broadcasting, from radio to in studio to on television, back to radio. But he's also been, a representative of the organization and of the brand. And it's hard to just do that all in a 2.5, 3-hour game broadcast. What I do know is that when this season is over, we're going to miss him terribly, because he's a guy that you always know when he's in the room. He's got more personality than you can possibly imagine, as people know, but he's an incredibly genuine man as well. So the thing I admire most about Steve Coates is the love that he has for the game, and the game's loved him back. So we're definitely going to celebrate that element tonight.
You can always hear him coming around the corner, up to it,
yeah.
Including his press conference tonight. You heard him coming before you saw him, and that is part of his lore and part of what makes him so special to Flyers fans, really spanning a couple of different generations here. He used to do it all, and if you'll recall, back in the 80s when he started, the home games were on Prism. The road games were on over-the-air television, either Channel 29 or Channel 57. He went through a stretch there for about 6 years where he would work radio at home, and then when radio at home, when the team was on the road, he would be the studio host. For whatever the telecast happened to be on a given night. So he wore a ton of hats. Mm-hmm. If you look at some of the videos the Flyers have posted about tonight, there's an open for Game 7 of the 1987 Stanley Cup Final that you cannot believe in this day and age. You look back on it, you can't believe that was an open for Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. It looks like an SCTV skit that they're trying to get off the ground. I mean, it is amazing how far the game has come when you look back on his career. But he has managed to bridge the gap over the years, as times have changed, the mediums. I mean, I can't imagine going back and telling him 40 years ago that, we're gonna have a great podcast going at the end of your career. What's that?
What the heck's a podcast?
And your Twitter account, your fake Coatesy account. You're doing things that you couldn't even fathom when he started.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. In the game of hockey, it is evolve or die. Whether you're a player, a coach, and a broadcaster, you have to evolve with the times. And Coachy's got a lot of old school still in him, but he did manage to evolve with the times. And the reason why he's been able to do that, I think, is because of his ability to make people laugh, not take himself too seriously. From some of the things he's done between the benches with the helmet on and the goal light on top of the helmet and those things, he's endured because he's a likable personality, and Coachy's corner and all the years of that, it's just tremendous.
Well, we are about ready to get started here. We're going to send it down to ice level for our ceremony with Steve Coates.